Welcome, readers, writers, and followers of Beneath the Rain Shadow Season 2. In this show, we will dissect and explore the early writing and editing process through prompt-inspired stories and monthly live story critiques with our 4 hosts. Back from last season, we have co-authors of Rain Shadows Volume 1, Tamara K. Selman, and me, Clay Vermola. And new to the team, we have 2 very exciting additions in Gordon B. White and M. Leigh. We hope you'll join us each month for some deeper insight into the creative process and all the fun we're sure to have along the way. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy the show. Hello, readers, writers, and listeners of the Beneath the Rain Shadow podcast. Welcome back to the show for our 4th episode here and Gordon B. White's inaugural contribution to the Rain Shadows story series. So, Gordon, thank you so much for turning in Antifasquatch. Antifasquatch.
There's no wrong way to pronounce it. It comes up in the story, in fact.
Yeah, it does. It does. This is true. But yes, we're excited to dive into somehow the first Sasquatch story in a collection of, Pacific Northwest themed stories. This is the first Sasquatch one because Tamara and I avoided them last season, and that left us open to Emily throwing it into the prompt bucket and Gordon writing it. So let's all go. It's all here.
Yes.
Sasquatch is officially on the table.
We have broken the Bigfoot barrier.
That's good. We had to do it eventually. And Gordon and Melissa, you were the two right people to kick us through that barrier. So thanks for doing that. I'm excited to talk about the story today, as always. But before we do, we will go around the table with our quick updates, and then Tamara will lead us through our discussion topic to open the show, and then we'll get into our critique group of Gordon's story. So Tamara, why don't you start us off on updates, and then you can lead us through the chatter topic when you're done.
Okay, sure. Biggest updates are that a couple weeks ago, along with you, Clay, was at SquatchCon in Port Angeles, which is sort of a Comic-Con out in the Olympic Peninsula. So that's so fitting, right? As we introduce you to a Sasquatch story. And it was super fun. It was nice. I met a bunch of people like Josh Cutchin, Kendari Blake, Lish McBride, Jen Flanagan, Camry Lapka, Jenny Blunk. So it was fun. There was others too, but it was super fun. Did some paneling, taught a workshop on poetry. We wrote some Mad Libs, Sasquatch or cryptid poems. So that was fun. And then I finished, I got the clearance on my cover image for my upcoming book, Trustfall. And
nice.
Really now I'm just waiting for the galleys or the proofs to come, but I'm getting really excited about that. So
that is exciting.
Yeah.
It's always cool to see the cover.
Yeah.
And I designed it. I'm so excited.
Oh, that's even cooler.
Yeah, I know. That is the nice thing about the small press, is they let you do things if you ask.
This is true.
Yeah.
Em, what's new with you?
Let's see. Just a bunch of stuff with the Pacific Northwest Writers Association. We're just trying to get our, conference announced and all of that great stuff. The contest is still going on for those of you, especially those of you who write horror. The odds are in your favor. It's going to be open for the rest of the week. So that's really exciting. I feel like I've been kind of swimming through all of the PNWA stuff this week, which was different from last week where I was swimming with manatees. So I definitely prefer that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then just trying to get some, there's this really cool call out from Black Hair Press where it's kind of like a retelling of the Emerald City, but in like a dark spooky way. So I'm working on one of those stories that's due in May. So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Nice. Black Hair is a cool press. They're from Australia, right? I think they publish Oh, they publish NJ Gallegos. That's where I know them from.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're pretty cool. Yeah, definitely be on the lookout for that. Submit to that. Go ahead and submit to the PNWA writing contest if you're in the area. Have you gotten a few submissions, Em? I know you were talking about that last time that you were.
Yep. Yeah, we've got a bunch now, but we
good.
can always use more.
Yes, more is always good. More is always good. Gordon, what's new with you?
I just got back from vacation, which was lovely, not thinking about anything. And I'm sure as we'll talk about later, it's the reason why my story I turned in was a legitimate first draft, as opposed to what I like to pretend are first drafts. And also, I know we'll talk about Crypticon in a minute, but later this month, on May 14th, at 6:30 p.m., I will be at Eagle Harbor Book Company over on Bainbridge Island.
Nice.
Talking to Luciano Morano, a good friend of mine, about his debut collection, Gargoyle Safari, that just came out. We'll be doing a launch event. I found like a second career as being the conversation partner for people who don't want to do book launches on their own. And
you did ours.
Yeah, exactly. This will be like the third or fourth one I've done for people. We'll show up, see how drunk I am, and we'll go from there.
Hell yeah. You want to be pretty drunk for a gargoyle safari, I've heard, and just to be safe.
Probably a good idea.
That's how all the accidents happen, though.
Yeah, well, true. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. So that's May 14th, you said?
Yeah, Thursday, May 14th. So listeners, come on out.
Yeah, I might have to make that trip over there for that. I don't have a copy yet, so that'd be a good chance to pick it up.
I might join you. I might join you, actually. Yeah, that's my old stomping grounds. I used to live down there, so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice store too. That's a good bookstore. If you are from the Kitsap County area, definitely go check out Eagle Harbor. They have a huge selection. They curate it really well, and Luciano works there. If you go the right time, you might occasionally.
Oh, he used to work there.
He doesn't work there anymore.
No, he works around the corner at Backstreet Beat, which is an awesome used bookstore and vinyl store too.
And vinyl,
you just they're all in the main drag too. So if you're in Bainbridge, definitely check them out. Lots of good stuff.
Yeah, we'll check them both out. Now you got two bookstores to go to. Continue to pile your TBRs until they bury you like the father figure in The Witch. Yes. Underneath his stack of firewood. Definitely do it. Okay. My personal update. Yeah, well, we're going to talk about Crypticon. That's obviously been very much on my mind. I've got a bunch of stuff going on for that. I think I already talked about Karen on here, but that's the other thing that's most on my mind since it released this weekend. So I'm just going to shout that out again. If you do like rock climbing horror, if you did read Crevasse and you've been waiting for the sequel, which I know at least 2 or 3 people out there are in that situation, please pre-order the book. It's the best thing you can do to help your indie authors. You can do that at Dark Forest Press. You can also do it at Amazon. So yeah, that's what I'm very, very excited about, releasing Cairn, which is a book I've been working on for a very long time. In many different phases. It was a novel at one point. Now it's a novella, and there'll be the other half of it as another novella. So it's going to be very exciting, but it's been a long journey to get it to where it is, and I'm very, very proud of it. So hopefully some of y'all will go out and pick it up and even do so before it is released, because that's extremely helpful for us to trick the algorithm into thinking we're more successful than we are, which is what indie authors need. It's what we need. Help us out. But yes, that's my update. Cairn is releasing on Saturday, book 2 of the Voices from the Cold trilogy and the sequel to Crevasse. So if you like rock climbing horror, go pick it up and check it out. You can technically even start on it if you haven't read Crevasse yet. Yeah, you can start there. Because I, again, originally wrote it to be a standalone novel, kind of, with Crevasse as more of a prequel. And now it's kind of turned into more of a true sequel, but you can technically start there and get your way through it too. A lot of my beta readers hadn't read Crevasse, and they still seem to enjoy it well enough. So, yeah.
You don't even have to read it as long as you pay for it. That's my.
That's true. Yeah. If you just pre-order it, don't read it. That's fine too. And you can just tell me you read it and whatever. I don't care.
As long as you say it's good.
Yeah. I'm kidding. I do care. Read it.
Immediately met with lots of questions, though. So just say it was great.
Yeah, if you do tell me you've read it, I have a quiz prepared. So just at least do some skimming. Tamara, do you want to lead us through our opening chatter topic?
Yeah, because Karen comes out during Crypticon, and you'll be reading and signing it and selling it there too. So that's all super cool. Crypticon is the PNW's premier horror convention, and that's happening this Friday through Sunday, May 1st through 3rd. And all four of us are going to be there in some capacity as panelists, readers. We're going to be part of the contest. There's book sales, there's the HWA, there's just like so many things. So we're going to be all over that place. So as we get ready to go, this is why we're here on a Monday night too, is we have so much to do to get ready before we go. Tell me two things that you one thing that you look forward to as you look forward to Crypticon, and then one thing that you're like, oh, I don't look forward to that at Crypticon, because we all have our little, thing that we just don't like. So does anybody want to start first, or should I be the sacrifice?
I can start.
Okay.
I am so excited to see all of the vendors, all of the booksellers. I love walking through the vendor alley. I love talking to everybody. You get to meet so many fun artists and talk to them about what they created and like really have a conversation before, you purchase a really, really cool thing. So that is what I'm most excited for, is talking to people, seeing people who I haven't seen in a while. Like Matt Dinneman was, just a vendor with his books for so long.
Right.
He's like a big guest. So I'm really excited to see that as well. And the one thing that I don't care for is the parking. Yeah.
That's fair. You stole the easy one. Now we all have to go after personal attacks.
Personal people now. Personal attacks on everybody.
The parking is monstrous. Let's just call it what it is.
And they have a little robot. They have a little parking robot. Did you guys see him?
Yeah. Is he still there? Because I don't think he was there last time I went. I think he might have gotten hit by something.
I hope so.
I do too, actually. Yeah, layoffs.
Yeah.
They replaced even the robots are getting replaced with AI.
That I'll prove.
Oh my goodness. That's so funny.
What about you, Gordon?
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to, as not to steal M's, but seeing all the vendors and stuff. I'm going to be a vendor there with Luciano. So if you can't make it to his launch event, you can definitely come by and pick up copies of our books. You see some of mine back there. We'll have books. I might also too. I'm going to try selling little like one shots. I used to put together little one shots for like StokerCon and stuff. So I might be selling some samplers. So if you want to try a story for like $1, you can do that. And then if you like it, I'll give you a discount if you buy the whole thing later on. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of people who I haven't seen in a while. Some of the guests, like Philip Fracassi, he and I go way back, and I haven't seen him in forever. Jeff Carter from the We Bleed Orange and Black podcast. I didn't realize he was going to be there until I saw his We Bob pod email in a thing. So I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot of these people. Something I'm not looking forward to is getting sick, because somehow I always end up getting sick. And I think I figured out what it is. I think it's because when I go to the party on the 13th floor, I always take those stupid fucking Jello shots. You have to sort of use your hands to eat them, and then so don't touch anything with your hands. So just don't do it. Stick to just straight hard liquor that comes out of the bottle, or bring your own flask or something. But don't put your hands in the Jello shots and eat the Jello shots. That'll get you sick. So avoid.
I do that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you suggesting just like a lean over strategy, like grab the Jello shot with your mouth and just go from there, no hands? Or something?
Yeah. You find us with Jello all over our faces, but we'll figure something out. Or maybe I'll have like a sterile Jello spoon. That's actually not a bad idea.
There you go. Now you're thinking. You could go get a stir stick from the coffee stand. One of those little wooden stir sticks from the coffee stand.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to do it fancy, so I'm going to get something like silver.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got to be fancy. I'm going to get the stir stick. What I usually end up doing at the con for lunch is I just bring a bunch of cup of noodles, and then I go ask the coffee stand for hot water, and I use the stir sticks as chopsticks, because I always forget to bring food. But I remember the ramens, but I forget all the other supplies. So I figured out. This is my strategy now. Anyone is welcome to steal it.
Well, now
Tamara?
you're looking forward to
Yeah.
it.
Well, what I'm not looking forward to, and Clay kind of brings it up, is the price of the food at the hotel.
Oh yeah.
Even the bottles of water is just astronomical. So I do have a hotel room because I'm coming in from the sticks, and I'm bringing like so much stuff. So I'm staying, but yeah, I'm gonna be bringing some food with me because it's just like ridiculous, like $30 for a salad or whatever. And snacks are ridiculous. They're super ridiculous. I don't know. So I don't look forward to that. And I don't look forward to the social hangover that happens after, because it's like a 2-day like ordeal of just hydrating and sleeping. Oh my God. Although I have such a good time. And the one thing I'm looking forward to this year, I'm looking forward to all the things that you guys have talked about, of course. It's my favorite convention here in town, for sure. But the one thing I'm really looking forward to this year is also something I'm really anxious about, but it's going to be fine. And that's that I'm going to be breaking out my camera, my big girl camera, and I'm going to be helping to videotape or help with the live streaming and recording of the Matt Denman, Phil Fracassi Fermented Fiction debate on The Shining.
Cool.
And so that's going to be cool to watch, but then I also get to like get a little bit of experience because I need to do that. So I'm really looking forward to getting my camera going and busy and active because I'm going to film school in the fall and I really would like to have some more, handling of that. And then it's going to be a fun event to do it with. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Also, you can't make Phil look any worse than he already does. So,
dang, shots fired. Philip, I think you look great, buddy. I think you look great. Yeah, it's going to be a fun event. I am also at once anxious and excited for that event. Because we've only done Fermented Fiction live one other time, and it was at SquatchCon, and it was a very small audience, like 6 people. So that, I don't know, in some ways, performing for 6 people is easier than performing for like 200, but in other ways, there's just kind of different stakes as well. Once you get through the awkwardness of this is a small crowd, let's still do the show, then I feel like those are easier. But there is that hard like initial hump. But with the 200, you kind of have the you have to keep the momentum going, and there's kind of high stakes for failure. So I anticipate that we will do fine. We usually do fine. But yeah, this has only been the second live show, so a little bit nervous about it. Looking forward to it though. Very excited.
You're gonna do awesome.
Thank you. I hope so. The thing I'm most excited for is the 13th floor. I am a BarCon aficionado, as anyone who's ever seen me at a con will tell you. And the Crypticon has the best BarCon. It just does. It has the entire 13th floor rented out. It has like 4 little private bars going on. And because I do so much volunteer stuff, I don't usually have to pay for a lot of drinks. So it's a lot of fun. I get to like party, but not go broke at the same time, which is not the case at StokerCon or NorwestCon, where I have to also go broke to party as much as I want to. So that's really fun. I am not looking forward to the like half-mile long coffee line that forms every morning and clogs up the entire lobby of the hotel. And there's really not a good place to get like coffee otherwise. You can go across the street to Denny's, and that's going to get you what you think it is, which is Denny's black coffee. That's an option. Other than that, though, there's really not a lot of walkable stuff around that hotel, actually. There's a Taco Bell and a Denny's and like a barbecue place, which is pretty good food, but again, not good coffee in the morning and everything. So you're kind of like just doomed to that line unless you bring your own stuff, or if you pay for a room in the hotel. And then even then, that's like Keurig cups, which obviously aren't really much better than Denny's. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to that or the social hangover that Tamara referred to. The Sunday of Crypticon is always brutal. And I already find myself, it's a little bit like when you have an old pet and you're like, because I have an old cat, I love her so much. But every day there's part of me that's like, how much longer will you be with me? That makes me sad. And I feel that way a little bit just going to Crypticon because I'm like, I love this con. It's going to be so fun. And it will be over so quickly. So there's also that other part of it. But yeah, I guess that's where I'm at with Crypticon. It's going to be awesome. 2 book launches at Crypticon, which is crazy.
Yeah,
and a big live show.
we didn't even bring it up, right? Crypticon has its own anthology, contest anthology, and it's called. Are you going to go get a copy?
I got. It's all the way in my car. Actually, never mind.
Oh, okay.
I did.
Right.
You just have to come to Crypticon.
You'll have to. It's Crypticon. It's Camp Crypticon 3. Yeah. And it's a contest anthology, and we will be hosting BTRS Books, which is Clay and I. We'll be hosting the award ceremonies and announcing the winners and celebrating all of that. And then there'll be other events that are tied to that as well. And you'll be able to buy copies right there. We have a dedicated table now, sounds like, to sell Crypticon 3, and it's going to be super cool. I'm looking so forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And Joseph B. Wilkie is going to be helping us sell a little bit, and he's a great hawker of wares. So hopefully we sell a good amount of books this year.
He wrote a really awesome introduction for the collection too, which I actually borrowed a little bit from for my Substack.
Nice,
because it was just so clever. He's such a smart guy, so it's gonna be good.
He did a good job with that. Yeah, he was the right man for the job. And it'll be fun. So definitely, if you're interested in picking up the anthologies, we're also going to have really good deals on the prior 2 years because we have lots of backstock and we want to move those things and get people reading them rather than having them sit in a warehouse somewhere. So yeah, stop by the table, see Joseph. And if you don't have the previous 2 years, this is the time to get them. They're going to be on a really good, sweet deal with some bundles and stuff.
And if you get them, I can sign either of them because I wrote a story for the first one and
That's right.
for the second one. And then you can buy my books when you're at my table, and that's great for me.
And I'm in the second one.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think there's going to be an all author signing, and I believe, is it true, Clay, that we're going to have maybe a dedicated table just for those, so that all the people that have been in any of these can show up, and we can do a big old signing. It'll be fun.
Yes, we do have an all-author signing on Saturday, I believe. And so I'm going to try and get as many of the contest authors to come to that as I can. They don't all always make it to the convention. But I know at least like 3 or 4 of them are coming. All of our contributing authors are coming, so that's cool. But yeah, we'll try to get us all up there. So if you do pick up a copy, you can get them signed by hopefully everybody in the anthology. And then also Gordon, M, Tamara, and I all have written something for one of the 3 anthologies at some point or another. Gordon's in 2 of them, M and Tamara in 1 each, and I'm in 1 with a story, and then obviously edit them all. So yeah,
I'll also
come on
forge
by.
any signatures for anybody who doesn't make it.
Yes.
You can ask me to sign for anybody there, and I'll give you one.
And Gordon's he's a lawyer, so I think that's legally binding signature.
Yeah, it's true.
It totally counts. Yeah.
I have their power of attorney. It's fine.
Yeah, I think that's how it works. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Gordon, but I think that's how it works. 100%. No, you are correct, sir. I'm also correct in assuming that our next segment is the actual critique session of this podcast. So,
exciting.
Here we are, everybody. We're here to critique Gordon's first story, Antifasquatch, which the reason I'm having such a hard time saying it is because I just did frickin' SquatchCon. So when I start to say Squatch, I want to say con. So then I say Antifasquatch, but I have to not say con. And Antifasquatch con does sound like a really good time, though. And maybe something we should figure out in the future.
Next year.
But for now, we'll just critique the story. So if you don't know how this show works from here, what we do is we're going to run you through a Milford style critique group, as you would see if you went to such a workshop out in the real world. Each of us will have 6 minutes to give Gordon our feedback on his story, and then at the end he will have an opportunity to clarify things and to ask us questions, ask for clarity, and otherwise he will just listen and sit there and take whatever we have to dish out. So who wants to start? Who wants to go after Gordon's story first? Anybody? Cool. I'll do it.
Oh.
Emily.
Yeah, I'll do it.
You want to do it?
That works.
Okay, I'll go after you.
Okay.
5 minutes? 6 minutes? I can't
6 minutes. Do you want me to
6
get
minutes.
a timer?
Yeah, if someone could run.
For sure.
I have my phone here, so.
I got 6 minutes.
All right. I'll go ahead and get started. Well,
Go.
yeah, go. Well, the first thing is, I think, you hit all of the prompts beautifully in a really smart and clever way. What I really like what you did with the location, with kind of the 2 separate timelines that you had was, the mental hospital of the past, and then what is, currently being as it's being used. And I just thought that you kind of connected the inhumanity of both situations in just a really great way. And it was a very clever way that, that I was really invested in. I really liked the structure of your story. I liked how the story was told from many different points of views, from many different snippets. It was very Faulkner of you. It was, that's what it reminded me of. I thought that was really cool. And I love how each section had a distinct voice, which gave the story a lot of depth, and how we're kind of piecing the story together like a puzzle. And that also kept me really interested. All of the voices were so separate. I liked kind of like the nonchalant arrogance of the bureaucrats, and just kind of the asshole-ish, federal agents that were, all of the different tones and talking really kind of worked. And also, I found Bigfoot, or the Sasquatch, his voice also very, very heartbreaking and very, very engaging. And I thought that was also really interesting. And, you kind of gave an interesting lore to the Bigfoot, as almost kind of like this magical kind of protector of kind of the humans are for themselves, and the Sasquatch are the we, the royal we. I enjoyed that. They were for each other while the humans were for themselves. I really enjoyed Soft's character. And I was thinking kind of how I almost like how you didn't have a section from Soft's point of view, because I think it kind of made him elusive, just like Sasquatch is elusive. And I kind of liked that. At first, I'm like, I want to hear more about him, because I feel that that's where the story is. But then I kind of like that you didn't have it, his own point of view. But it's still, your description of him brought a lot of empathy to the character and a lot of empathy to the situation, and just kind of upped my investment in the story. And there was such like an innocence about him, that I feel really upped the stakes. I feel like that's kind of where a lot of the tension and the conflict came. Let's see. I already said that part. And then, of course, it was just a very apt political and social story that was just incredibly clever. That, it was well done in a way I never thought a Sasquatch story could be done. Some of the thoughts that I have, that I think all will be really easily worked out in editing. And I'm just thinking, like, if this is like your zero draft, like your zero draft is better than like my fourth one. So it's all good, Gordon. But I liked all the different sections, but I think some of the sections could be rearranged or just laid out a little bit differently. I got a little bit lost because it was 2 separate timelines. So I got a date here, or a kind of a timestamp when they switch would be helpful. And I also think maybe just rearranging a couple, and I know that you'll do this during editing, will really kind of bring the conclusion home. And I also think like Soft was such the heart of the story. So I was just thinking maybe something that would bring his storyline a little bit more to the forefront, because I think that's, I guess, just more characterization for Soft. And like I said, I really like the overall concept of how Bigfoot talked about themselves as like the we, like the royal we. But in some sections, it was just a little bit confusing. It was just kind of, I got tripped up in the reading. But again, that is something that can be very easily fixed with editing.
About a minute and a half left.
Okay. I think the tension can be raised a little bit more between the feds and the Antifasquatch people. I feel like the tension was really, really up with soft, but kind of bringing it into the present. Perhaps that some situation I think can occur to like really drive home the tension and the plot a little bit more with that. Something a little bit more tangible to, really give us a lot of investment in the current timeline. But overall, it was beautiful writing, beautiful story, funny, apt. Well done.
All right. I can go next. Tamara, you good to time me?
I don't have my phone with me right now. I plugged it in the other room. Sorry.
That's okay. Em, can you time me?
Yep, I can do it.
Okay, let me know when to start.
All right. Ready, go.
All right. Cool. I agree with everything that Em said. Those are all really good points. Hard ditto on the upping the tension between Antifasquatch organization and the federal agents. But I will start with what worked for me. I really like the title as well. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's a nice play on Sasquatch, on Antifa, and it really highlights that this is both a Sasquatch story and a topical political narrative as well. And also the use of tale and the sort of structure of the story kind of makes you think Canterbury Tales if you're a nerd like me, and this definitely kind of fit that mold. Obviously, it's structured a bit differently than Canterbury Tales, but you still had the various aspects kind of told from a character voice that was defined by who the character is within the world. And I thought that was cool. That's something I've always loved about Canterbury, and I think it works well in this story as well. I think it works well in any like politically centric narrative because you know exactly what this position and what this character kind of is meant to stand in for as an archetype. So that worked well. I like the different epistolary angles. There was a lot of fun in-world vernacular, which I'm always a sucker for. I thought you did a really good job with that in the Forest Chorus. Just kind of different ways they describe things, the way they choose their names, the way they choose their social positions, the way they refer to themselves as the royal we. That was very cool. And then that was nice contrasted against humanity, which is all very like personally invested and personal, individual centric, like Em pointed out. I think that was good as well. You did a good job hitting all the prompts. Obviously, Sasquatch is very much in the story, and the forest course is like the heart of the story. And then the humans being the real monster works really well. You have both a historical and a modern day example of that with ICE and a mental hospital from the 70s. And then I really like the orderly's ghost. That was a fun perspective to mix in there because up until that point, everybody had been sort of like a real person or a Sasquatch. And even Sasquatch has like this corporeal form that we can kind of latch onto easily. But when you threw a ghost in there, it kind of made this a much more speculative story in a way. And she was at the perfect place too. It came in right when we kind of started to feel a little more rooted and grounded in the story. And then it's like, there's also a ghost. Fuck you. You haven't figured this out at all. And that was a perfect Gordon B. White move. So I really like that. The ending did well to deliver on the promise of the premise that we see in the title. We got the justice that we craved, and you did it via lobotomy, which was very fitting at the Northern State Mental Hospital. And the Sasquatch kind of rising up to fight fascism was a great touch. Really like that. And I like that the epistolary source is never explained fully or fully realized, like who they're talking to. But the fact that they are talking to someone directly is also evident, and that's very interesting. When I was like wondering if this was a medium or something, somebody who could hear both like the forest chorus, a ghost, and actual people, like a paranormal investigator or something that is working with the anti-Fasquatch people. But I wasn't really sure. And I thought there were some really interesting dynamics that you played with there, especially with introducing a ghost and whatnot. That said, I did have a few things that you could potentially improve on. Take everything or leave everything. It's completely up to you. I do feel that there was a bit of a disconnect from the forest chorus and every other character. I know that was intentional, but I think the story would benefit from a bit of connective tissue. And I think a lot of that could come from knowing just a tiny smidge more about who our narrator is, about who our lens perspective is, our first person listener character is, whoever they're talking to. And only because it's so established that they are definitely talking to someone, like being interviewed by someone, it puts the reader in that character's shoes, and it kind of makes that a character of their own. So I do want a little information on who the character is, but I don't want the whole answer. I don't want a description. I don't want to ever see them. I'm talking about like literally a line or two, but it might provide just a bit of connective tissue between the timeline events that M brought up, and also the federal agents versus the Antifasquatch, and then also the forest course kind of versus humanity as a whole, or well, not all of humanity, but the sick ones, humanity that sucks, and the people that they're going to go and root out at this point because we've pushed them a little too far.
1 minute.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I put some, ideas in there. The only other major gripe I would have with this story is the exactly how archetypical all the characters were. They were exactly what I expected them to be, and I think it would have been really refreshing and unique if you could mix them up a little bit. Like if one of the bureaucrats was maybe a lawmaker that's trying not to be a piece of shit and trying to pass good policies, that would have really surprised me. But it was the exact thing I expected, as was the federal agent, as was, frankly, the Sasquatch. They were kind of the voice of the forest, and we've seen all these archetypes before. You did a really good job with them, but I would like to see maybe a little bit more of a unique Gordon B. White weirdness spin on everything, and I got a little bit more of the archetypes I expected. So I'm sure that's something that'll come out in later drafts, but that would be my only other area to consider.
Okay, we're at time.
Wow. Okay. You guys are just covering it all. But so ditto, and ditto some more. But I have some other ideas. First of all, I really enjoyed this. I love any kind of like braided narrative like this where you have different points of view. And I think it's pronounced Antifasquatch. So I think that's funny how everyone's going to interpret it differently. So for me, the forest course was really successful because it's not a character, but it is the collective voice. And so when I'm looking at that, I'm thinking about Greek tragedy and having the chorus. So I think that's what Gordon intended. So that's how I read it. And I really loved it. There are sections that maybe were a little repetitive or just needed tightening, but of course this is a what did you call it? A pre first draft or something, like a prehistoric first draft, which would be kind of funny to call it that. But I think you did a great job with the whole idea that just really worked for me. So this story has moments of great snarky humor in it. I love it. But it's such a good balance. It needs to be in there really, because what happens is so absolutely horrifying. And I remember reading along thinking, oh, this is light, this is sweet, this is like a fairy tale almost. And then we see the trope of humans are the real monsters come fully alive. And I love that you did not, Gordon, you did not shrink at that, and you did not shrink at the politics. You did not dance around it. You called it what it is. You even made characters who are fully bigoted in all of their realism. So I love that because it just, man, there's so many layers. Super cool. I am like Emily thinking, if this is your, shitty first draft, geez, takes me a long time to get to this stage. So that was really good. I also really love the introduction at the very beginning of the cold branch, which I don't want to spoil the story, so I won't say what it is, but it is something, except that it's something that the community finds and they try to deal with. And what you do is you bring it full circle to the very end in a way that's just like very, very satisfying. I love that. And it all made so much sense to me. In the earlier parts of the story, there is this relay of the story through the drunkard and then the drunkard's grandfather. And I love that because it lends such like urban legend quality to the story. So back in the day, a friend of a father's friend's sister's housekeeper or whatever, it's that kind of thing, telling the story of what happened. And so you're getting the story of what happened through the grapevine, but you're also getting it through the forest chorus. And so it's really an interesting contrast of what people are seeing. And then you're also getting another point of view from the people that are inside the institution, including the ghost, which I also thought was a stroke of genius. So let me see. I do hope that there are these Antifasquatch people in the future if this does happen, because we're going to need them. But, sign me up. If they're recruiting, they can find me. I'll dye my hair purple, I swear. I do have a question about the title, because I'm not sure it's the Antifasquatch's tale. I think it's Soft's story, or the story of the forest chorus. So anyway, something to think about. Let's see. I'm going to go to the bottom. I have just little suggestions and whatnot, but of course you did great with the prompts. I also really love the story of Soft, because Soft's story is very tragic. They are an embed into this small one culture. I thought it was really well done. And it's also kind of a metaphor, I think, for if you're looking at people in the world today who are only now waking up and having the veil lifted from their eyes and seeing humanity for what it is. Because there's lots of people in this world right now that are really finally waking up. And so it kind of really captures that. And the fact is that this story goes into the past, and it has this fairy tale, full core kind of background, but it's also dystopic future we're talking about, because it's happening in a third presidential don't scare me like that. That is the real horror in this entire story. But I love that. And so I think I like there's some really nice, good details that you used to show the passage of time. Thank you. Through, for instance, the color of the fur of the Sasquatch tribal elders. That tells us how old they are and how long they've been around. And then and they live longer, so that time has passed. That was really, really clever. Love that. Let's see. And okay, they did bring up the suggestion that there's something that smells like it's on fire, and I think what the forest chorus is mentioning is maybe the crematorium that's on site. And I feel like, dang, man, that could be, I have an idea about that, and I put it in my notes because I don't, you look at it and give it a thought, because you might be able to build that in more, because you just can't throw a crematorium into a Sasquatch story and then just leave it there and not use it. It's just like waiting. It's like a Chekhov's crematorium.
Yeah.
So, and then just so that for real on that property, that farm was built and designed to be a working farm, which of course ended up being more like indentured servitude. But it could be something you could, for people who don't know, it might be just something you could bring up a little bit more. Other than that, I have a lot of notes, but I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see what you do with it, because I think it can only get better from here. So I enjoyed it, and it's really a fresh take. I've never seen anything like this with a Sasquatch story ever.
Definitely. Thank you, Tamara. And Gordon, you are now up. Do you have anything you'd like to clarify or anything like that for us, or ask for clarity on?
No, I think everybody sort of got what the little things that were going on. And you're right, Tamara, that was the crematorium. I forgot about that until you mentioned it, because I was looking at the website of all the historical things, trying to put some details in. This one, it's interesting. This one ended up being this sort of the polyphonic structure, because I couldn't figure out a way to get everything I wanted within one coherent point of view. Originally, it was going to be Sasquatch point of view, and I was like, well, that's not going to work because I can't get the inside stuff. So it's going to be person's point of view, but then I don't get the Sasquatch stuff. And so I was like, oh, I'll just split the difference. And I was like, but I can't just do those two, so I got to put in these weird ones. And things like the orderly's ghost and stuff were just like me being like, throw a ghost in there. Why not? I was thinking a lot too as I was writing this about there's a Chuck Palahniuk book on how to write called I think it's like Consider This. But one of the things he talks about is texture is in your stories. And so I was like, that's what I really wanted to do with this, is give it some texture with different voices and different people. And like a note in one thing, interviews sort of style in another. So I'm glad that came across. And then things like the Bigfoot language and stuff, it's just stuff I thought about while walking the dog. I'd be like, what would they describe? How would they describe it? Like, they wouldn't have certain words, you know, they wouldn't know things. Like, I think they count their time on like fingers and toes, or the fingers of the hands and the feet. And that's partly from Spanish, where dedos is for both of them. So I'm just like, what would they do? They'd have big feet, so they would count time based on feet. So I'm glad all that stuff came through, and that it wasn't too silly. I guess that was the thing. I was concerned it might be either too silly or too disjointed. So I'm glad that the balance is there to tweak around, but that it's mostly working.
Yeah, I definitely think it's mostly working. If not almost entirely working. It worked really well. Definitely like some places where you can trim and clean it up with the connective tissue and stuff. But yeah, I thought it was awesome. Really, really good story for sure.
Yeah, so I sent this so the listeners have context. I sent this to them like while I was on vacation, because I was gonna like look. I finished typing it, and there was one part I knew was wrong. Like there was like a hint. There was like a reference to something that I knew didn't actually happen in the finished draft. So I cut that out. And I was like, all right, time to go through again. And it's like, actually, no. So I sent it to them saying, there's no room in the hot tub for Bigfoot. So I sent it on with that. But I think too, you know, like one thing that I've been working a lot on trying to remember, like what the process, the part of it I like is for writing. And I think one of the things that I did here was with the different structures, I wrote the parts that I was excited about, and I was like, I like this, so I'm going to write this part. And then I like wrote a part at the end. Like the part at the end is like the part that I like had the vision for at the beginning. Everything else was trying to get there. But like little bits and pieces, I'd be like, I like this. Like I'm going to give a note. It's like, ooh, I want somebody else, so I'll write this too. And it's just a good reminder to myself that like you don't come up with the perfect story idea and then put it all down from A to Z. You make it up as you go along. And like you get to the point where you go, oh, I like that. And so it's going to be the editing work. But thanks you all for your helpful and very nice comments.
So Gordon, you what you describe is really interesting, because people talk about process. Are you a pantser or are you a plotter, right? And what you're describing is what I call myself, and that's a puzzler. To me, it's like when you make a puzzle, like a jigsaw puzzle. For me, sometimes you just put down the parts that you know, which are the frame, right? You say, okay, this is the border, this is the boundary. I have the corners. The corners are really important. You put those in. And then I start sorting just by color or shape or whatever. And then you just fill in as you go. And it's not a straight line at all. But eventually it does emerge. And you get to look at those pieces enough times at all the different ways that you can identify them until they just literally emerge. And I think it takes a little bit of self-belief to pull that off. But at the same time, it's also super creative and fun. And for me, it's a lot less pressure than, okay, you've got to get A to Z. I don't know. I think it's really good to know the end, of course. That's like the picture on the box puzzle, or the puzzle box, right? You look at the picture and that's where you're trying to go with your puzzle pieces. But in between, anything can happen, but eventually it will all come together. So I love that, because a lot of people don't even try that. They just think that's the only way to do it. And it's like, you just never know. It's uncomfortable and it could be hard, but it could also be the best thing you've ever done for yourself as a writer.
Yeah.
Also, too, what I've learned is that you can then find out what you can skip, because the parts you go, oh, I can't believe I have to write my way through this. Like sometimes you skip ahead and write it and go, oh, I don't have to. In the way that we have this meeting could have been an email.
Yeah.
You go, you know what? this plot point could have been a sentence. Like this chapter could have been a summary. And you go, oh,
a summary.
I have to write it. She's like, I can just skip that. There are a couple of viewpoints in this one that I did that. I was like, how am I going to do this? I was like, oh, I don't have to. I'll just have somebody say that it happened. And then boom, we're done. Let's skip the hard part.
I noticed that about the story. I really did. I was like reading, going, you just gave us just enough of what we needed so that we could keep going, little breadcrumbs along the way. And I really didn't feel like we were missing anything. There might be some things that we maybe had too much of, but you didn't leave anything out. And that's, something you'll just go back and tidy up when you do your revisions. So
I think that's because I wrote several of the Bigfoot sections. They were the ones I wrote the longest parts and then chopped them up.
Yeah.
And I think some of them I wrote like in a couple of different sittings. So I think I hit the same points a couple of times. And then there's no room in the
It happens.
Bigfoot, so you got it.
It's okay. I mean, it's a first draft or a prehistoric first draft.
Yeah, for sure. And that was to that point just probably the only place where I ever felt like you could cut too much out was the Bigfoot parts. Not that there wasn't good stuff in there, but there was a bit where once in a while it felt a bit repetitive or like kind of saying a similar enough thing.
Yeah.
Whereas all the other perspectives were pretty tight and small and short and quick, and so they worked really well. But yeah, I like that idea of puzzling too, because it gets you going on the story, which so often is a huge hang up too. Like sometimes you worry so much about the process of doing something that you never get around to doing it. It's like, oh, I'd love to go hiking, but I need 7 hours to go hiking, when in reality, like, how often do you really hike for as long as you think you need? But it'll dissuade you from going, or like, oh, we should go to the lake, but then we have to pack lunch and we have to do this and we have to do that. And then you never go. And it's like, really, that might have taken 3 hours if you would have just went and done it. And writing, I think, is the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also to like Tamara's point about like the puzzling part of how, sometimes she's like, well, you have a picture of like what it's supposed to be, but sometimes maybe you don't have a picture of what it's supposed to be, but you like are putting all of these pieces together, and at the end of the story, you're like, wait, it's a horse? Oh, I guess the story's about a horse.
Yeah.
There you go.
You figure it out, on the way. And so sometimes I love that too, because you can still surprise yourself. And that usually means that your readers are going to be surprised as well. So,
and it's a really good metaphor too, I think, because I'm sure you've all heard like the like headlights thing too, where you just need to see enough to go to the next part. But with the puzzle, it's the same sort of thing. Like as you finish the one picture, you get to see what's connecting it, and it could be something entirely different. And you go, oh, what's this? And you find something else, and you don't realize that that's the thing you need until you do the part that you know out that looks the coolest. You go, oh, what's next? And you go, oh, I never even expected that.
And then you're stuck with all the
strand here and there.
Yeah. And then you're stuck at the very end with that big patch of blue sky. And you're like, I have no idea. I just have to like string together. But then you're just looking at the
That's
shapes.
That's right, the end in big letters.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Great metaphor, Tamara. Call it the puzzler method. It's a new method we're putting out there. Another P.
Planners, pantsers, puzzlers.
Boom.
Yo.
You don't have to be a planner or a pantser anymore. You don't even have to be a planter. You can be a puzzler. You can be something completely new.
We should come up with some more that are P's.
Yeah.
We should.
No, all I can think of is predator, and that's not good.
A predator. I hunt my stories. I hunt them through the woods.
Hey, whatever it takes, right? To get the words on the page.
Yeah, you just need to be able to see the ending in the scope, and then you walk around. You got to stay downwind. There's all kinds of stuff you could do. We could drag this metaphor out, but instead of doing that, we should probably give Gordon, or not Gordon,
prompters.
Tamara.
That's what we'll do.
We'll be prompters.
Yeah,
because it's Tamara's turn to get a prompt.
We've done the whole thing. We've done the full cycle. We've done a whole quarter.
We have.
Trimester, I guess.
That's pretty sweet.
Trimester. We did it.
Yeah, good job. Go us. We have 4 stories in this thing, 1 each. And now
nobody's
the
even read them
cycle
except
starts
for us
anew.
too. We could just put them in now. We don't have to edit that shit. Nobody will know.
They won't know. Yeah, they won't know. Yeah.
But we
Good
will.
point, Gordon. Good point.
I can forget lots of stuff. You'd be surprised. Due dates.
Sure. We have forgotten. We each have forgotten those as well. Gordon and I, Tamara and Em did a great job. We'll do better. We'll do better this time. At least I will. I won't speak for Gordon.
I was late too. It's okay.
Yeah, I guess so. Only Tamara was on time. Good job, Tamara. Well, Gordon was actually early. Gordon was early. He just had wanted to do a whole nother pass. And wasn't able to. But yeah, so Gordon and Tamara, good job.
Hot tub for Bigfoot.
That was a great line. I mean, that made it all worth it. That made it all salved over. Let's give this prompt. So for anybody who doesn't know, the prompts always have the same 3-part structure. So they have a Pacific Northwest location, they have a horror trope, and they have a Pacific Northwest quirk. So quirk being, socks with sandals or driving a Subaru or something that is kind of unique to the PNW. So let's start how do we usually start? What do we always start with? Do we start with the location? I think that's what we do. We'll start with the location.
Okay, sure.
Who's got the location?
Lay it on me.
I have the location. Sorry. I was just remembering it. I have it. I swear.
We'll start with you.
Okay. So I was thinking, because we have done several stories now where I feel like they've kind of been not necessarily remote, but just kind of, not necessarily city-ish. And so I was thinking a brewery or distillery in the Seattle-Tacoma area.
Nice. Good call.
How many of those could there be, though?
Yeah.
Yes. How many indeed?
One on every corner.
I know.
Almost as many as there are coffee shops.
Yeah, Starbucks.
So I don't have a specific one in mind. It could be an old one, new one.
Okay.
A building.
Awesome.
That's great. It's a great opportunity to either give some free press to your favorite, like really tiny brewery, or some sort of like shadow dissing to your to a brewery you maybe don't like. You have these options. Gordon?
Awesome.
How about our horror trope?
I had one, and then I looked at the list and realized it was the one we had last season. But I've got a different one. And this one is, you can take it as literally or as metaphorically as you'd like, a deal with the devil.
Oh, I love Deal with the Devil stories.
Hell
It
yeah.
could be the devil himself. It could just be a devilish character. It could be a devilish situation. But a deal with the devil is your horror trope to play with.
Let's get Faustian up in here. Let's do
Yes.
it.
Do it.
All
The
right.
Faust and the Furious.
The Faust and the Furious. I love it.
That's your
And
title.
Tamara has her title.
Yeah.
Gordon's just slinging titles around.
Just all the pun ones are going to be from me.
As long as I don't have to write about race cars, I don't want to do that. So
It's funny. These all have been matching up in a weird synchronicity. So my wife the other day went to our neighbor's house to talk to them just about some gardening stuff, and it came home with a fresh SCOBY. Which, if you don't know what a SCOBY is, it is a weird little placenta-looking organism that makes kombucha. She came home, with a jar of placenta fungus or whatever the hell a SCOBY is.
mother.
Bacteria.
The mother bacteria creature organism thing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that is hideous.
Yeah, it's gross.
Like
Look it
mushroom
up.
or something.
Look up a
Yeah.
SCOBY. It's
No,
like
they're
a
gross.
floating
It's an
embryo
acronym,
placenta
too.
thing. It is an
It's
acronym.
like a slime mold.
Yeah.
Symbiotic
Yes.
culture of bacteria and yeast.
Yep.
Yes.
That was my nickname in high school.
How funny. That's just like
It was
every
it was
single
Scobie
time.
being,
Oh,
for being
Scobie.
stoned all the time.
Scobes.
Goes.
Scooby Dooby Doo.
snack.
Scooby Dooby. I was just gonna say that.
Someone had to do it. So
Yeah.
yes,
Well,
your Pacific Northwest quirk is going to be home-cultivated kombucha, because that is a pretty Pacific Northwest ass thing to do.
yeah.
Um,
Dang.
So you've got
Dang.
brewery, or was it distillery as well, or was it just brewery?
Yeah.
Could be
Brewery
both.
or distillery. Okay, in
Cool.
Tacoma, Seattle
We're all
area.
friends here.
Yeah.
We're all
Yeah.
friends here.
Yeah.
You've got Faustian bargain, deal with the devil, and
Oh my God.
you've got home brewed kombucha.
My husband
Scobie.
used to do that. And those scobies, like I used to joke that they were like talking to us in our sleep, like scented
Ooh.
things. Yeah. They turn into
Yeah.
their
Like
own.
a Frank Henenlotter film. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's gross. It's like Alien, but
gross.
in reverse, is what I said to Deanna. Like we have the little alien, and we are going to consume it, but we're using it to populate more of them because that's why they call it the mother, because it makes more, and then you put that more into another bottle, and that becomes another mother. So yeah, it's basically like Alien, except for we're drinking them instead of them drinking us from the inside. So,
oh my god,
moms everywhere.
the humans are the real monsters. Tamara, that's your prompt. How do you feel about that?
I like it. I think it's going to be. I already have some things going, and it's funny because, I mean, I'm not a brewer, but my husband used to be a home brewer, so I have some ideas, and I've been through small breweries and done tours and stuff, so I know like some of the smells and the equipment and what that feels like. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be a hard story to write, because I imagine a SCOBY. I've never seen a SCOBY because we've never done a kombucha here, but I have seen things like slime molds and other creepy. I have this weird thing growing out in a bucket in my side yard right now. I don't even know. I just know that I cannot find anything in Google to describe what it is, but it's these little creatures that are growing in this bucket. And I thought maybe it's tadpoles, but they're really long and skinny and they're too big to be mosquitoes. So I'm like, what the hell is that?
Clay's neighbor will drink it, apparently.
Yep, absolutely.
So
just
I'm
throw it
just
in some
like,
tea.
yeah, I know. And I mean, these things are getting bigger and they whip around. They're like really, and they have big eyes. So it's like, no. So yeah, I'm kind of in that frame of mind of working with mysterious organisms. So
are they dragonflies?
Maybe they're dragonflies because they're long and skinny and segmented.
Huh.
So maybe that would be cool as long as that's what they are, because I would welcome that. But
yeah, that would be really cool.
What's that, Gordon?
Maybe they're demons.
I mean, they kind of look like it. They're very weird. They're super weird to watch, and we just sit there and stare at them floating around this bucket. And I'm just thinking, this is probably going to be the end of civilization. It's coming from my bucket in the side yard. This is like a monster that I should have just killed a long time ago.
The scientist one day.
Like, see if they'll make a deal with you.
You saw this, and you were like, "This is fun." Making a deal with the bucket.
But I do love a deal with the devil story too. Yeah, I really love that, and I feel like we're living in one long deal with the devil right now in contemporary society. So, I mean, it all comes together. It's not hard. It's not a reach to write about all of these things.
Indeed. Well, we look forward to hearing how you approach that, Tamara, and we will read it. We will critique it on episode 5 of BTRS Season 2. So until that time, thank you, readers, listeners, writers, and fellow Range Shadowers out there. Keep on writing, even if you have to puzzle it together or hunt it down or do whatever you do with your process.
Just put a ghost in it.
Just put a ghost in it. That always fixes it. And we will see you next week with another story from Tamara K. Selman. Until that time, thanks for listening and goodbye.
Bye.